Okay, we are moving right along and picking up from the last video, we were kind of like getting your mind ready for what you could do if you decide to get involved in renovating a piece of property. As a student, I am not going to push you in that direction just yet. And you may say, hey, I want to do that, I've done it in the past, and maybe I didn't have all the nuts and bolts. But if you choose the renovation project as your very first project, I'm not going to stop you from doing it. I'm simply going to ensure that if you're going to pursue that avenue, that it's going to make some money. Having the right deal, if you're going to do this correctly, I don't pay no more than $60,000 for a house that needs renovating. I don't care where it's at. Somebody else can do it. Now, there is the high-end deals, but I don't do those. Too much risk, too much red tape. But if we're talking a house between $0 to $300,000, I don't pay more than $60,000 for it cash. I will put anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 on a house, because I'm going to sell it for $350,000 to $400,000. That's the deal. That's what my investors are looking for. And they're out there. But it requires you to do the due diligence. It requires you to find a deal that's worth my investors putting in the money to bring a property up to expectation. So I don't care how bad it looks. I don't care if it's leaning to one side. If the house 3 doors down sold for $300,000, I will buy that lot. I will build a house on it, because you have an exit strategy of somebody saying, I will buy it when you finish it. That determines where the money comes from. Money follows the strategies that make sense. Therefore, let's look at cost estimates. Now, there's a bunch of books and tapes, and you can even go to Home Depot, Menards, or Lowe's and find what I would call statistics on what you should pay for rehabbing a house. Some contractors, let's say if you got money, you ain't got time to do this, but you just want to make some money, want to flip some houses, and you go up to a contractor and say, look, I want you to build me a house. He's going to say, how many square footage? You may say minimum 2,100, 3,000 square feet. He's going to say it'll probably run you anywhere between $90 to $121 per linear foot. You figure that out, you say, okay, fine. Well, what is that really when people throw numbers at you? Okay, you mentioned 3,000 square feet times, let's say on a high end, $121 per square foot. That house just cost you $363,000 to build. Okay. Well, you may say, okay, I'm a pretty good negotiator. I can't do $121 per linear foot. I can do 90. So we take that same 3,000 square feet times $90 per linear foot. Now we're down to $270,000 for a house built. But that's down the road. But that's if you have had experience and you got the money and you know what you're doing. God bless you, do it. But I'm talking about the houses that you can buy for $10,000 to $15,000, put $70,000 into it and sell it for $125,000 to $150,000. Those houses exist all over Cook County. There's literally thousands of them. So you don't have to worry about trying to find the whale. Let's deal with the small fish. There's plenty of them. That way you can make some bread and butter money till you may meet the right person, and then you can get your whale. But let's deal with bread and butter stuff so you can pay your car note, your house note, and put your kids through school, and start a savings retirement, and start your business, and get your 401k going, get your LLC, your corporation going. Let's deal with what reality is right now. Therefore, your cost estimate is one of the biggest problems I see people with, and the biggest thing that I went through, because it was a learning curve, trying to find a contractor that was good enough and worth what he's asking for. If a guy's saying we'll put a roof on your house, the material is only $1,800 to $2,200 for the material. If you're going to completely do a whole roof, say like 1,000, 1,100 square feet. But the labor is going to cost you $4,000. That's the way it is. Now, you may say, that's a lot of money. Well, let me ask you what you do for a living. If you're a doctor and you're a brain surgery, or if you're a doctor and you work on people's hearts, and you're a cardiologist, if you're a pediatrician, if you are an architect, if you're a lawyer, or if you are a professional businessman and they hired you and they pay you $70,000, $80,000 a year, you wouldn't insult them by saying, well, I'm not paying that much. I don't care how many years you went to school. And you're definitely not going to argue with a doctor if you need surgery and say, hey doc, I don't feel like paying you a high fee, even if you did go to med school. He might say, well, you can fix your own heart. Operate on yourself. So don't get insulted when somebody tells you what they're going to charge you for doing something. If they're worth it and it's still profitable for you to do it, then hire them. If not, do it yourself. There's an option. You ain't got to argue with nobody. You simply do it yourself or find someone that meets your expectation and get it done. But when you're looking at roofs, they can run anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. You're looking at the cost estimates of doing structural situations can run anywhere from $7,000 to $18,000 for that. You're looking at plumbing and electrical can run you anywhere between, if you're doing a single family home, it may cost you up to $8,000 just to completely put new copper pipes from the Buffalo box, not the Buffalo box, from the house. When you first look at the house in the basement, there's a pipe coming in from the city line from outside. You attach that copper pipe to it and you run it throughout the entire house. You're going to run it to water heater. You're going to run it to, if you got 2 or 3 bathrooms, you're going to run hot and cold to it. You got toilets in each one. You got either a shower or a jacuzzi tub. You got kitchen. It may have hot and cold running in. So you're going to have copper piping running everywhere. It's organized, but it's running everywhere. And if you get it done inexpensively and it's not properly insulated, your pipes may freeze in the winter. Or it may not be done correctly and they may pop. And you got water going everywhere. And don't let it be behind a drywall, because that water is going to go everywhere and that whole wall will be wet. Now you got to replace the pipes and the drywall. So it's important to kind of do things right. Looking at even electrical, it's not a good idea to let Ray Ray and Pookie and them wire your house. I'm just being honest with you. Because what's going to happen is that inspector is going to come out and use one of those little devices to see if it's wired and grounded properly, and you'll find out it ain't done right. Now you got to do the whole house over, or whatever part is not working. So it pays to get licensed, permit people to do that kind of work if you're going to move into the renovating side of this business. So when you're looking at roofs, you're looking at the plumbing, you're looking at, get the right people to do the job correctly. Don't try to do it yourself if you don't have no idea, because there's nothing wrong with getting wet when you do a pipe wrong, but it's no fun getting hit with 220 because you wired the thing wrong. So I'm just being honest with you. I've been hit with 110. It'll knock you to your knees. They tell me 220 take you to hell, but I don't know. But I don't want to find out either. Same token, looking at the type of tile and carpet, depending on the area, the demographics, and everybody wants the wow effect. So when you're going to rehab a house, if you choose to do that, make sure the house meets the expectation, so that when you decide to reach that level, I'm going to rehab my first house, know what you're doing. That's all I'm saying.